Jabroni, Jabronixyz, oh, it doesn't matter, you spell jabroni.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of Two Jabronis with a Wrestling Podcast. BJ Cruz here with my tag team partner, the man wearing an amazing ham and slam shirt, always bringing the t-shirt heat to Two Jabronis with a Wrestling Podcast, the incomparable Jeremy Los. Jay, what's up, dude?
I have to thank you for this shirt because you're the one that got it for me.
That's right.
And I have your shirt sitting in my closet, so I need to send that over to you.
We'll find a way to make the exchange. Jeremy, did you get me a shirt that we'll talk about at some point?
Yeah, it may not be the greatest shirt to be wearing at the moment, but right now, it is a shirt.
When it was ordered, great shirt. Now, some time may have to pass before I can wear it. Let's just.
I did wear it to the grocery store, and I got some positive feedback.
Well, it's because you probably don't have the diehards who know exactly what's happening. With every member
maybe
of that place. But
yeah.
But that being said, it is a great shirt, and we will debut it at some point. Hopefully after some lessons have been learned. Let's just leave it there. Don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you download your podcasts. And if you're one of our fantastic Apple Podcast users, please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And if you're feeling spicy, leave a review. And for our Spotify people, we've been showing you a lot of love lately, so show us that love back. Hit follow on Spotify and listen to us on there. Also, shout out to everyone on Apple Podcasts for we were the largest jump in all of wrestling podcasts on Apple Podcasts. We leapt up like 100 and something odd spots. I took a screenshot of it, posted it.
Yeah, it's incredible. So
which was crazy.
Big ups to everybody that's been helping us out on Apple Podcasts. Spotify users, we scratched your back. Let's scratch ours a little bit and let's hit that subscribe button. But thank you again to everybody who has been on this journey with us, especially the people that have been with us from day one when we were just a couple of jabronis talking about WrestleMania for 3
we weren't
hours,
even 2 jabronis yet. We were just a couple of jabronis.
Yeah.
Who the hell are these guys?
Make sure you also follow us on social at Two Jabronis at Two Jabronis Pod on Twitter and on Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit this red button, subscribe,
here.
Upvote. Hit that red button. That's at Two Jabronis with a Wrestling Podcast on YouTube. You can follow me personally on Twitter at Jeremy A. Loss, and you can follow Ben at Cruise Control. That's Control with a K. Now, Ben, tonight was an epic night of wrestling. It was something that just kind of came out of nowhere. I don't understand. I know it was probably because NXT really wanted to counter program the first night of Fyter Fest, but man, this turned into a pretty solid night of wrestling.
Oh no, absolutely, and we've got a lot to talk about. So that is and should be the main event. And for this week's main event, man, again, Wednesdays are in general just big nights in wrestling. This felt huge, obviously because of the names that were involved, both the wrestlers actually involved in the matches, but the names of the pay-per-views themselves, right? At their core, it was just, an episode of Dynamite and an episode of NXT. But once you kind of put that layer on it of, NXT being the Great American Bash and Dynamite being Fyter Fest, it just adds, whether we see through it or not, it's a little bit more special, and you can just tell that they tried to do that with the matches that were involved. So first of all, I'm always interested to see when they have these big nights going against each other with counter programming, how do you attack it? Are you I'm gonna try to watch both, I'm gonna watch this, then watch the second one later?
Yeah, so I try to watch both, but that becomes a little bit problematic because I also have kids.
Sure. Yeah.
So I have kids running around. I have to watch 2 wrestling shows. So I try to start with 2, and then I end up just kind of focusing on one and then going back to the other, and keeping track of the other one in real time on Twitter. I know you were watching tonight on both. You were watching both at the same time, but you also have a setup that I don't have the luxury of having. You have an incredible garage
I took the BR setup that we had the privilege of working with many moons ago, and I tried to implement that here. Basically, I'm a child, and I just want to watch everything at the same time. But no, it was pretty fantastic to be able to watch both, because in previous episodes we've kind of gone like back and forth with Dynamite and NXT, and you know on paper you're like, well, this match went against this match. When you see it in real time, it's pretty crazy. Especially like, so both shows just ended. We had the tag team title match on Dynamite going right up against Io Shirai and Sasha Banks on NXT, and it was just like, this is so much good wrestling that it is. Yeah. It's almost too much to take in, and it's a lot. It's a lot of good stuff just coming at you right away.
Right, and I'm also wondering how much does each brand know about what they're doing in terms of their programming, because I don't know if you remember when was it the first night of AEW and NXT counter programmed with Adam Cole versus
Finn. That was Finn's debut, right?
Huh?
Was it? Oh wait, it was the Cole match, and then Finn debuted.
Yeah, it was the Adam Cole Matt Riddle match, and then Finn debuted. Like, I'm wondering how much they actually know what is going on at what time, because I mean, what's going up against each other is really interesting to me. I mean, they had the Fatal 4-Woman match on NXT going up against MJF and Wardlow and Jurassic Express.
Yep.
And then shortly after that was Hikaru Shida versus Penelope Ford. So like, those are just interesting dynamics to kind of to witness in real time. That Fatal 4-Woman match was pretty freaking great, by the way.
Yes.
I mean,
yep.
I think I called this around in your house, maybe before, that Tegan Nox needs to be in the main event picture for the women's title, and now she is going to be. This is much deserved. She's gone through a lot of trials and tribulations with her knees, but she's been on fire since she's been 100% healthy. Obviously, her feud with Dakota Kai really kind of elevated her, and she had some really great matches. That street fight that she had, I think, at NXT Portland or NXT Worlds Collide, that was one of my favorite matches early on in the year. So to see her now get a shot at Io, I am extremely excited about. I think that could be a really great feud.
I'm also excited about it. My only question about it is, so like, they've been kind of painting Io as a face lately, ever since she won the title anyway. And, that did sort of happen organically too. Like, when she won the title at In Your House, there was just this genuine feeling of, oh yeah, like, she deserves this so much, where it was, you didn't, even though she was a heel character in that moment, you just didn't feel that. You're like, no, she's dope. She deserves this moment. So now we've got kind of a face thing happening. I'm just wondering, do they figure out a way to either turn one of them? I mean, that would obviously be the easiest solution. Or do you mix in a Dakota Kai into the mix? Although that would take away the technical number one contendership of Tegan Nox. Do you do that? I don't know. I'm spitballing here.
I don't think you turn Tegan heel. I think the easiest thing for them to do is just to kind of lean back into what Io was before she won the title. I know a lot of people want to see her as a babyface right now, but her character is supposed to be a heel. She's supposed to be a little crazy and a little loony. So I think they can find ways to kind of lean back into that. I mean, Tegan Nox is a white meat babyface. I don't think you can change that.
Yep.
Period. Like, she is so white hot as a babyface. It's so natural to her to be a babyface. So, I think you keep it the way it is, and maybe just kind of tweak Io a little bit.
Sure.
Not so much where it becomes a little problematic, but I think what you can do now is just kind of just start giving the little hints again that she's a heel. So, I'm really, really looking forward to it. I think that can be an excellent match. Now, on the flip side, sorry, my dog is barking because
he's excited about this match too. That's fine.
He doesn't really enjoy when people walk around my house. He's just like he's like the old man that like yells, "Get off my lawn." That is my dog. He gets really upset. Anyways, On the flip side of this, AEW was counter programming with MJF and Wardlow versus Jurassic Express. Now, this was a pretty decent match. I think the biggest thing coming out of this is they are 100% hinting and leaning toward MJF versus Wardlow. This is where we're going.
Yeah, it's a split.
They're already like starting to split. The finish kind of hinted at we're gonna get this match because MJF hit Wardlow with the ring on accident. But
yeah, yelled at him though. Can you do anything right? Fantastic delivery.
I think they're just kind of starting this road where MJF is the asshole that nobody can get along with, even his bodyguards. So I'm looking forward to that. My dog will just not stop barking.
He also is excited for this MJF.
Yeah, he's a big
split.
MJF fan.
Yeah,
I tried really hard tonight to get trolled and roasted by MJF by calling him unathletic.
TBD. You just said that tweet before we started recording from the show.
That's my goal. Like if I get something, I'll be set for life. So
he did roast us in. Do you remember when he did the AMA in the BR?
Yeah,
app? We threw in a couple questions and he roasted us. And it was fantastic.
Yeah, I also think I called out a legal problem that he's going to be facing. The fact that he's using the dodgeball line as his catchphrase.
Right.
He had no comment for that. So I'm sure Ben Stiller's lawyers have been in touch with him. But yeah, I'm all for MJF versus Wardlow. MJF's been he's been great as a singles competitor, but he's been kind of floating around ever since his feud with Cody. Like they haven't really elevated him to the next level. So MJF versus Wardlow have a little bit of a split. I'm fine with that. I think that'd be great. They followed that up on
his momentum was a little bit slowed because he got hurt, right? Like there was some medical issues that I don't think fully came to light, but I believe he was just hurt and he couldn't perform. So that kind of slowed the momentum he had after he beat Cody, because that was, that was a springboard into kind of launching him into the main event picture. I don't know why he wasn't kind of more in the TNT title mix, but
same.
It's at the end of it, if this is kind of like a long play to kind of get him back in there eventually. Yeah, I mean Cody defended the title tonight, so maybe MJF is the guy who eventually beats him for it. Maybe that's what their plan is. But I did want to say about this match. Luchasaurus had a couple spots, and Jungle Boy too, where I was like, that was kind of dope. Luchasaurus, for a man that size, to be able to move the way that he does is pretty bewildering. It's just, it's fantastic to watch.
He is a specimen, and it's crazy to think that he didn't work out in NXT.
That's insane to me. That is insane.
It's also crazy because they probably would have never let this Luchasaurus gimmick go on at NXT. So
he would have been
obviously in the right spot. It's wild because when he came into the AEW, we were all on the hype train, and I'm still on the hype train. I still love Luchasaurus. I still love the Jurassic Express, but I think a lot of that celebratory feeling for Luchasaurus and that fandom has kind of shifted over to Jungle Boy.
Yes,
and Jungle Boy is starting to ride that wave.
Yep,
which is great because Jungle Boy is awesome.
Really good.
He is a future star, but it's just crazy to think that that's all kind of shifting. And it might be because I actually picked Jurassic Express to win the tag titles during that tournament, and then Luchasaurus got that injury the first night. And I think that kind of tempered everything. So maybe they'll start putting some more effort behind Jurassic Express and get them more involved in the main tag team title picture. Right now, they're just kind of fluctuating a little bit below the main event. But like I said, they followed that up with the women's title match, which was surprisingly good considering I'm not a huge fan of Penelope Ford's wrestling. I'm not trying to shit on her at all. She's way more athletic, way more a much better wrestler than I could ever be. I'm just not a huge fan of it.
She showed out tonight though.
She did show out. She put on a pretty solid match, and Hikaru Shida is awesome.
She's really good.
I loved it. I also really loved that cartoonish spot that she did with Kip Sabian around the kendo stick.
Well, he just tossed it up after one kind of forearm.
At this time, I really enjoyed that shit. I thought this match was great. Like you said, Penelope Ford showed out. She really carried her weight there, and performed exceeded my expectations. So the women's division in AEW has some pretty solid up and comers. Still not as deep as I would hope it would be. And obviously Britt Baker being out kind of limits that, but it's a good sign to see some quality matches outside of like those top 3 or 4 people in the women's division in AEW.
The fact that they've been able to keep the division more than afloat. Afloat is kind of like my default setting there on what to say, but it's she has been fantastic as champion, and if she can hold on for when Britt comes back, when she heals and she's able to compete again, like that's going to be a fantastic feud, because Britt, again, she's on fire without being able to wrestle, and that's insane to me. I mean, that's I guess not insane. Like Orange Cassidy kind of has that allure about him as well, but for Britt to literally not be able to compete and still just be on the top of everyone's mind when you're thinking about the AEW women's division, kudos to her for being able to do that, because that takes something special to remain relevant.
She is on fire, and like you said, she really hasn't done much. She's been sitting in a wheelchair, just kind of putting on that gimmick, and that role model gimmick is just so perfect right now. I have nothing but respect for Britt Baker and the work that she's put in, because like we've discussed this numerous times in this podcast, that we both thought she could be the first champion and then just never went anywhere. And she kind of stagnated in that women's division. And now she is back to the top doing something completely different than what she was brought in doing. And she's really built herself into a star and really shown an evolution that I don't think a lot of people expected from her.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, when we were talking about her at the beginning, kind of at the beginning of AEW in general, we thought, or just the way she was packaged, I think she was just, this straight up baby face, and we were just supposed to root for her. She's a dentist or whatever. And it kind of just took this different type of character for her to really, really take off. And, absolutely shout out to her. Shout out to my wife, by the way, who's in the background, just grabbing her.
Hi, Karen.
There she is. She's also saying hi to listeners. She was grabbing her dinner. But no, it's this version of Britt Baker is fantastic. I can't wait till she gets back. So that was countered with, on the NXT side, I believe it was it the Thatcher Lorcan match, or was it Rhea?
Yes, that match is so good.
Yeah,
I love Timothy Thatcher, man. He's awesome.
Do we know what happened to his teeth? He looks like a hockey player, just missing all kinds of teeth for absolutely no reason.
I mean, I'm for it. I mean, he's a badass. Like, he doesn't need teeth. Like, let him beat the shit out of people and lose some teeth every now and again. Like, I think he needs to be in the title picture, whether it's North American or NXT title picture. He needs to be up there. The fact that he was the person to send Riddle out of NXT just kind of elevates him a little bit more.
Yep.
And he has a style that may not like be a super appealing to a lot of people or to like the mainstream audience, but to people that really like stiff kind of work matches, things that look real and feel like a work, like he's your guy. I mean, he put some quality stuff in there.
And that's crazy to think that he's here because of Pete Dunne not being able to travel, right? Like if Pete Dunne is just kind of able to defend the tag titles with Riddle on a regular basis, Thatcher's not here. Thatcher's not in this spot. So, obviously I think he's happy with the spot that he has been given. Obviously, I don't think he's probably thrilled with the circumstances that surrounded that, where it's like a global pandemic had to kind of put him or help put him in this spot. But no, he absolutely deserves it. He's been on fire ever since he kind of came on to fill Pete Dunne's shoes. So shout out to him, and shout out to Oni as well for putting on a really, really good match. Let's stay on the NXT side before we go back to AEW. Rhea Ripley in a strange handicap match taking on Aaliyah and Robert Stone. And I did not realize this, that the stipulation was, had Rhea lost, she would have had to join the Robert Stone brand.
Yeah, this was the match and the storyline that just was the least appealing to me going in. This Robert Stone brand has not taken off to the way that I think they anticipated. I mean, obviously they put Chelsea Green with him to start, and that was kind of their attempt to kind of elevate everything.
But
now she's gone.
She left him so quickly.
Yeah.
Almost too quickly.
Too quickly and just kind of like out of the blue.
Yeah.
Like it was like, she's gone.
It didn't even happen on TV. I think it happened on a behind the scenes segment that they aired on Twitter. So it wasn't even a big. I mean, obviously, the weeks thereafter, they showed him all disheveled and kind of losing his stuff. But at least he has Aaliyah now and kind of in the mix. So there's some hope there. His fit tonight was the glasses, the boxing shorts. It was a look. It looked like a Halloween costume. But
he does put together some serious fits though. Like his suits,
he's well dressed.
Are nice, I commend him for that because when they were trying really hard to push it, and he was actually rocking some serious like suits. Like I mean, they were fly. I'd rock them.
They're very. We don't have a suit sponsor, so I'm not going to name any names. But it looked like ones that if you heard them on a podcast and they were like, "Hey, we make custom-made suits," they'd be like, "Oh, okay, that looks like what Robert Stone ordered all the time." And probably
it's also it's crazy to think that this is where Rhea Ripley is right now.
Yeah.
When a few months ago she was in a huge feud with Charlotte around the NXT title going into WrestleMania, and now she is in a C-level feud with Robert Stone and Aaliyah.
Yeah, they gotta.
What the fuck?
They gotta rebuild her and put her back kind of in the title picture where she deserves to be. Obviously, it's cool that, again, like that we mentioned, Tegan is getting her shot at it now because it looked like for a while that Rhea and Io were just going to be it. Like that was going to be the definitive women's title feud for a while. But again, maybe they had to slow play this a little bit because of Rhea. She had I believe it was some travel issues, right? Kind of around the time, like after she lost the title. So again, Charlotte had to carry the belt for a little bit, but again, short end of it, Rhea needs to be back in the main title picture. She's just too good for this.
I know that Tripp said that like in 3 months, the decision to put the belt on Charlotte will make a ton of sense. Now Charlotte is out for an extended period of time. This mini run that she had where she defeated, she like went through and had a couple of like title versus title matches and all that kind of stuff. She had some fun matches. Like it just doesn't make sense in the long run as to why you would take the belt off of Rhea when she was white hot.
Yeah.
It still doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think they're going to be able to justify it in a few months. It really sucks for me, and to think about like where Rhea was in that moment. Will she she probably will have a moment like that again because she is so young, but like she was on top of the women's division. She was the cream of the crop. The fact that Charlotte picked her after winning the Royal Rumble shows that she was the cream of the crop when it comes to the women's division across all of WWE. Even with Becky there, she was hotter than Becky at that moment, and now she is gone. And it's just so frustrating to see what I see as like short-sighted booking get in the way of a really special run and something that could have really elevated her to be in the same level as Charlotte and Becky in the long term. So,
what about this? Like Bayley is running out of legitimate title contenders kind of on the SmackDown side, right? Like,
not really.
Look, Nikki Cross, that's a nice little feud. I don't know if that's like something I'm super excited to see, but you move Rhea to one of these two shows, or SmackDown or Raw. I don't know. That's kind of dope. Like Raw, for whatever reason, they've all but given up on Shayna Baszler. That I'm like scratching my head every day about. But I mean, if you like, the NXT Women's Division is pretty stacked. It's pretty deep. Right. Maybe this is the time to move Rhea to a SmackDown. Like Rhea Bayley, that excites me a lot more than what Bayley could be doing on SmackDown.
The only thing is like Bayley has, I would say, 3 feuds kind of lined up here.
So the Sasha thing is there, right? She's
got Nikki Cross, she's got Sasha, but she also has Sonya Deville.
Sure. Sonya's also there. I like SmackDown or Raw. That's all. I'm gonna throw it out there. Maybe it is time for her to move on.
Yeah, it pains me because like you said, Raw has just flat out forgot about Shayna Baszler to a degree I have no understanding as to why.
Insane. It's insane.
And they have Nia Jax there. They have Asuka there. Like they have a decent women's division. It's just like I don't understand what they're doing. But it still is really confusing to me as to what they're trying to do with Rhea Ripley at this moment, because she was so red hot that the fact that now she's in this feud is a little befuddling. So moving on. Befuddling word? I think so.
It could be.
We're making it a word. It is now a word.
Yeah.
Befuddling.
Yeah. It means weird. It means weird, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. I've had a long week and it's not even Thursday yet.
Yeah, I know.
So
it's
I had a long last 3 hours. I'm not going to get into it, but it was just I wanted to throw something.
It was a time.
So
yeah,
it was a time.
It was a time.
Moving on, Cody versus Jake Hager. This was a match.
It was solid. It was
okay.
Fine.
I don't know how to even describe this. I love Cody's work. I think Cody is the best storyteller in and maybe outside of the ring going on right now. I think I've talked about his skill set many times on this podcast. I feel like he is being done a disservice by the TNT Championship. I don't know if it is worth his stature and worth his time.
Do you think is it overexposure? What do you mean by that?
I know that they want to use him to elevate that title and use it and have somebody that has cachet to bring it up.
Right.
But I don't know if he has the cachet to bring it up, if that makes sense. I think he would have been great with the AEW belt because the AEW belt would have already had cachet. It would have already been the top belt. Sure. It would have helped him stay relevant and make him feel important. I'm struggling with him making the TNT belt important. I just don't know if he has that kind of pull. Yes, he is great in the ring telling stories. Yes, he is great outside of the ring telling stories, but I still struggle with him being the guy to elevate a belt as a la a Chris Jericho.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
It does, but if I'm looking at the alternative, which was at the time Lance Archer, I don't know if that does it at all either. At the very least, they're making the TNT belt very, very visible. Right? He's defending the title very consistently. They're having these press conferences to give it that fight feel, that real fight feel. So they are trying different things with it because look, the AEW title isn't there every week or isn't featured every week. Obviously the reason why Mox isn't there because he's quarantining right now, but and that's not to say Mox doesn't show up to work, because he does, but it's just longer plays with the world title, right? You won't have world title matches on Dynamite every week. That's just not smart to do. You got to save those for the big events, save those for the pay-per-views. The TNT title, it's brand new. It technically doesn't have, like you said, it doesn't have that cachet just yet. So I think just to make it more visible and to put it on the guy who's literally the face of the company, I think it's at least an interesting move where you're I could kind of understand what they're trying to do. Yeah,
I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get what they were trying to do. I think ultimately with the feel that they had in the tournament, it was the right call to put it on him because everybody else probably would have been worse.
Yeah.
I think if they really wanted to make that belt special to start, you put it on Kenny Omega. You put it on MJF with that belt would have been fucking priceless.
MJF is, and that's why I do think at some point MJF is going to take that title from Cody, because then he's going to have these two things over him, and that's just going to add his fuel to his character, which will be fantastic. But this match, Cody and Hager tonight was solid. It was okay. The
finish was cool.
Yeah, the shenanigans at the end were interesting, and I think they made a little bit too big of a deal of Hager hitting the ref. It was yeah, man, this is professional wrestling. That shit happens all the time. So
what do you think of Jake Hager? How have you been reacting to his return to the ring? Obviously, there was that long time where he wasn't in the ring. He was just kind of like
the enforcer.
muscle.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about his return to the ring? I think he's fine in the ring. I think he's solid. But he's still just like, even when he was Jack Swagger back in WWE, he just never did anything for me. Like
that's what I feel too. And I'm trying to look at Jake Hager differently than I looked at Jack Swagger, right? I think they made Jack Swagger a little bit too cartoonish in WWE. Like the only segment that I rewatch with him in it consistently is when Christian came back to ECW to challenge him for the title. Like when Christian was in TNA for a while, he came back. So like you, Jack Swagger wasn't that, I was just kind of like, all right, I guess like he's there. He's clearly good at what he does. He has good pedigree behind him. But now, I mean, even tonight I'm just watching his match with Cody, and still I was trying to get excited about it, right? Because I'm also looking at it like, yo, this is one of the first legitimate contenders for Cody. Kind of looking at it like that. But again, at the end of it, just kind of like it went back to Jack Swagger mode. It's like, yeah, I mean, that was fine that it happened. It was a match. But I think joining Inner Circle is smart, like to be a part of that collective, because I think it does elevate him as a singles competitor in a singles match, still kind of lacking that it factor for me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm hoping that, like, I know that they want to do the weekly matches with the TNT title. I'm hoping that they just they give it a long-term feud with somebody, because that's when Cody's at his best, when he can actually tell his story.
Yep, totally agree.
And maybe that will change my opinion about the thing. Maybe that will be the moment where I realize, oh, he has elevated the belt, because right now he can't do anything on a week-to-week basis. Like, he's just literally going in and working a match, and that's not in his wheelhouse. His wheelhouse is telling these really heart-wrenching stories with a lot of drama, and then those carry over to the match.
Absolutely.
That's when he is at his best.
No, absolutely.
Let's see what they do there. The co-main event, I think this is
before we go there, let's pay some bills. We gotta pay those bills. So with that, let's take a quick break to talk about our friends over at Bet Online. There is no shortage of action going on at our exclusive partners, betonline.ag. Sports are slowly making their way back, and BetOnline is leading the way with the best odds and lines for all UFC, NASCAR, boxing, and soccer matches. And if you need even more, they have simulated NFL, NBA, and UFC simulations all day, every day, live on their website.
Looking for something else other than sports? BetOnline has hundreds of casino games, poker tournaments, and prop bets to check out. Okay, quick story time. Casino games got me into a little bit of trouble with the wife. I thought, I have some money. I'm going to put it on my BetOnline. I'm going to have a little bit of fun. That became an issue because that fun turned into multiple hours of me playing casino games and multiple deposits. So just be careful out there. Casino games are a lot of fun. BetOnline has excellent casino games. They're a lot of fun to play. But just be careful.
But on the flip side, I won't name who it is. Our friend, one of our friends, had a very successful run on BetOnline casino games. So you can be Jeremy or you can be our friend. You never know.
I mean, if you're a jabroni like I am, like, you're gonna have some problems. But if you have some luck, I mean, they're a lot of fun to play. So visit betonline.ag and use promo code BlueWire for a free welcome bonus. That's one word, BlueWire. BetOnline, your online wagering experts. All right, so let's dive back into AEW. So the second to last match, I believe, was Private Party versus Santana on Ortiz.
Yep.
With Private Party pulling it out to have a title shot against, we'll spoil it anyways, against Omega and Page.
Yep.
On night 2 of Fyter Fest next week. I mean, we've spoken so highly of Private Party. Their finisher is an all-timer, and if you don't like that, we have 2 words for you, because that match or that finisher is so dope.
It's so
Love
good.
The gin and juice.
It's just surprising that no one thought of it before them.
Yeah,
you know, and
I
look,
mean, it's fucking wild.
It takes 2 very, very special athletes to be able to do that, and Private Party are very, very special athletes. So, but it's just like, it's, when you break it down, it's 2 very kind of simplistic moves that have been around forever, right? It's a Hurricane Rana into what's basically a diamond cutter. So, those are two moves that people have done many, many times over the years. So for no one to be like, you know what we should do? Let's combine this. It's crazy. I mean, look, maybe it just was perfect for Private Party, and it just needed to be them. But it was just always been surprising to me that no one thought of it. But that being said, the way they do it is incredible.
I'm sure they hurt themselves so many times just trying to like get that down.
The timing,
the first time, like
the timing is crazy.
Yeah. Like just trying to get it the first time was they went through so many tries and hurt their backs and whatever. So like, big ups to them for coming up with something so innovative. It really makes me want to watch a Private Party match because I just want to see them hit that move. I
love Private Party's entrance. By the way, their weight is like the amount of was it vodka cranberries that they've drank?
24. I think it's like 24 ounces of vodka cranberry.
24 ounces,
and they come from any place where
you need an invite or something like that.
Yeah, you need an invite or something like that. Yeah,
so good.
I mean, they really lean into that gimmick, and it's great. The other thing outside of this match was Orange Cassidy was sitting next to the announce table while Chris Jericho was
silently announcing. Jericho was so mad.
Man.
So
I really
funny.
hope that Chris Jericho gets into announcing after he retires from the ring because he is so damn good.
He's very good.
Him and Samoa Joe are just naturals at everything they do, and Jericho really put over Orange Cassidy, and I love that he tried to like charge him, and Orange Cassidy kicked the chair out and just walked away casually, and then like they had everybody come out and split him up. But I can't wait for that match. I think that's gonna be really great because I think Jericho will do just enough to put Orange Cassidy over and make him look really great. And I think that can kind of catapult Orange Cassidy into whatever place they want to put him next. I think that's what they're going to use Jericho for, is just to kind of put him over. Something similar to what I think NXT is starting to do with Johnny Gargano now, that looks like he's going to be feuding with
Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Yeah, Swerve Scott. Like, I think they're going to start using Gargano as that guy to elevate the up and coming wrestler, which is great. I think that's a perfect role for him because he's been in a feud with everybody.
Right.
He's been in the main event picture. He's been in the North American title picture. The only thing left for him to do now is put people over. So I want to see that from Gargano. I want to see that from Jericho. And I think that's going to help build both of those brands. On the flip side, NXT, you had Dexter Lumis versus Roderick Strong in a strap match?
So I was initially, the layout of how I was watching it was I had NXT on the bigger TV, but the volume higher on AEW because I didn't want anyone to be like, you're treating these people unfairly. You're treating these two companies fairly. Gave them as much of an even playing field as possible. So admittedly, I was watching more so Private Party versus Santana and Ortiz. I did do a couple of rewinds on the Loomis Roddy match, and for a strap match, which like that form or that stipulation in a match feels like almost a little too old school for me.
I low key hate strap matches. I don't like them
because I feel like it limits what wrestlers can do, and I feel like that was more beneficial to when wrestlers back in the day were a little bit less athletic, and like you kind of just had to add something into like a Hogan Andre strap match. Like that would kind of make sense, right? These are two dudes who are kind of limited by what they can do. You add in the strap, it kind of adds this other layer to the match. In today's wrestling, I feel like you don't need it. That being said, this match was actually pretty solid. There were some cool spots. Bobby Fish got involved at the end. It ultimately didn't help Roddy. Dexter Lumis won. He's an interesting character. Still trying to figure out how I feel about him.
His skin looks like it needs a ton of lotion. Like his skin just looks always sunburned.
That's your takeaway?
That's just something I cannot get away from. His skin looks rough. It looks like a lizard skin, and I just want to put lotion on it because it just drives me
maybe it's
bonkers.
Part of the,
I know he has all those tattoos and like
maybe it's part of the look. We don't know.
I don't know what it is, but man, it bothers me. Like his skin is always beet red. He's like Brock Lesnar red. It looks super rough and like leathery, and I can't get over it.
He's got a nice fade though. Really jealous of that fade.
Man,
especially
speaking of fades. I've had that conversation with my wife now about like, should you cut my hair? And I brought it up to her. I was like, can you do a fade for me? And she just gave me that look like, no. Like she was just like, you don't want that. Cause she had kind cut my son's hair, and it was fine, but like it was a little wonky in areas, and I was like, I'm sure if she cut my hair, it would have been.
We're also not
tragic.
seeing people though. I let my wife cut my hair, and I was like,
can't do it.
Let's just do it. She gave me a decent fade. I'm yearning for like a Dexter Loomis type fade where you're like, that's a nice tight fade.
I also like, I'm going off on a tangent about haircuts now because I need one.
Yeah,
there's this guy that I keep seeing on TikTok. By the way, I'm obsessed with TikTok. I don't know what it is, but that fucking shit just keeps reeling me in. There's a guy I see on TikTok who gets the smallest like taper fade, and the top of his hair looks like garbage, and he pays like $1,000, and he like is bragging about it like he's paying $1,000 for a haircut. He's getting robbed, and I don't understand it.
He's getting robbed. Well, you should leave that as a comment because maybe he doesn't know. Maybe
I mean, a lot of people are like, dude, what do you like? That's a $12 haircut, and he's like, I'm paying $1,000, and I'm like, the fuck? What are you doing?
Well,
yeah. So back to Dexter Loomis. You see that transition, man? I'm on one tonight. I think they're gonna do something with Dexter Loomis in the top, like in the North American picture. I think they've kind of elevated him now with the United States title, that he could be a main event or like big time player in that brand. His gimmick's okay. I just can't get over his skin. Like his skin drives me nuts, and I don't understand it.
Well, maybe they'll incorporate that into his character.
Now, what's happening
moving forward?
This is another thing. What are we doing with the Undisputed Era? Like Kyle O'Reilly has barely been on TV since this whole pandemic started.
Is he hurt, or is it just a choice?
I don't know
for him, because he was on last week, right? Or
he was the
psychiatrist or whatever.
Yeah, like I just don't know what they're doing with that. I don't know what they're doing with Roddy and Bobby Fish. Adam Cole obviously still has a belt, but like his title run is on borrowed time, TikTok, because Karrion Kross is coming. I've never been this down on the Undisputed Era.
They just don't have anything like that. They've had good stuff for Adam Cole, like consistently, right? And I think right now, you know, they kind of took them out of the tag title picture, and maybe rightfully so. Like they kind of were there for like the longest time. Yeah, they need to figure out what they're doing with the other three, and I think that's why they've kind of stuck Roddy with Dexter Loomis, because look, Roddy's really good in the ring. They're clearly trying to build Dexter up to being, you know, a legitimate top tier talent in NXT. Mm-hmm. So that Roddy's kind of effectively doing what you were talking about earlier with what Gargano is likely going to do with Isaiah Swerve Scott, right? So, so without O'Reilly, kind of Fish is just, wait for it, a fish out of water.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And so that kind of just leaves like the other three just in limbo a little bit, because Cole's Cole. He's fantastic. He's going to put on amazing matches for the title no matter what. And I'm so looking forward to that match next week with Keith Lee.
Yeah, I mean, it's
going to be friggin' incredible.
I think after that, so after that match, like what's left for him? Karrion Kross. I think after Kross, like you have to move him, and you have to move the Undisputed Era up to your big time shows, up to your Raw, up to your SmackDown. They need to be there.
It's time,
if anything, because like they just need fresh storylines on all those programs anyways.
Dude, a Drew McIntyre, Adam Cole for the title on Raw would be like, there's already a built-in story to that as well, right? Like Cole's debut was at Drew McIntyre's coronation in NXT. So that would be,
even if they don't drop him into McIntyre right away, what if we got Undisputed Era versus Rollins and the Messiahs?
Yes.
Or the what their fucking names are, Apostles. What are they called now?
Oh my God. And they know what you're talking about. It's Murphy and
What if we did that?
Who are the heels in that?
Rollins. I mean, I think Undisputed Era will come in as like
the maybe not the full faces, but there's people who don't give a shit.
Yeah, like
they'll be cheered anyway.
Like they're gonna end up being heels, but like their debut is going to be so beloved that they're gonna end up just being faces for a little bit. So I don't know.
Like,
are they spitballing here? But I would fucking kill to see Seth Rollins versus Adam Cole.
Oh, I mean, we got a little taster of that last year, and it was fantastic. Do you think that they are waiting for crowds to return though?
Probably
To make that happen, which won't be like till January at the earliest. If we're being realistic.
If Vince had his way, it would have been like last week.
Right. Vince still thinks it's going to happen, but he's not the only one. So I don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
he is dead set on coming back, and we talked about this last week. Like, their handling of the situation leaves much to be desired, and I really hope that they don't try to like force this situation and try to get some people in there for smaller crowds. Like,
they're already doing it, right? And so those people have clearly already been exposed. Taz, by the way, did you catch that during his promo?
Oh, Taz was dropping bombs.
Took a couple, not even subtle shots at WWE's COVID reaction, but just very, very outward with it.
Yeah, he is.
And rightfully so, though. I mean, he probably knows better than most, just kind of like all the bullshit that happens back there. And I mean, he used to work there. So that leads us into, let's just shift gears back to, we had two great main events on both shows. So where do you want to start? Let's flip back to AEW. We had the AEW tag team titles on the line. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page defending against the Best Friends, who had one of the greatest entrances for a tag or for a title match, period, maybe ever. They had Trent's mom drop them off in a minivan, and her yelling "Have fun" and asking for a kiss was also fantastic. It was just that's just so good. It's great comedy.
On the flip side, you have like the WWE will do like Becky coming up to the performance center in a fucking semi, and like it just doesn't fit her character at all. Like this is just perfect character building.
Does Becky know how to drive a semi? Like let's dive into that more. That was crazy.
Yeah. So I loved it. I thought the match was really good. I'm starting to love Omega and Hangman as a tag team more and more. I still want that fucking breakup. I want it bad.
You love a good turn on a partner, which is why I keep one eye over my shoulder all the time, and maybe why we haven't recorded a lot of in-person shows. I just think you're gonna clock me in the face with a steel chair.
It's coming. I can't get over the subtle hints that they're dropping in this storytelling. It's the same thing that WWE is doing with Sasha and Bayley. Like subtleness, like they are dropping like little looks. The camera is staying on one person for a longer time to see an extra like reaction. That stuff is fucking gold. It is subtle storytelling that, if done right, is perfect. And they did it tonight with the interview where I actually screenshot and put it up on Twitter of Hangman just looking like giving Omega the death stare. And it's like a quick second in real time, but if you catch it, it's awesome. And I think we've caught something similar with Sasha in the background looking at Bayley holding the belt. Like that stuff just works. So really excited to see if they can potentially break this up, because I think it'll be great. The match was awesome. Best Friends are great. They're a veteran tag team, really know how to work, and I think they are underappreciated outside of AEW. I think a lot of people just don't realize who they are or understand the amount of work they've done around the world. So they're excellent. The one thing that I had kind of issues with when it came to this match was the post-match antics with FTR.
Right.
I'm not exactly sure as to what they're trying to do with FTR. I thought for sure they would come in and immediately feud with the Bucks. They kind of hinted at that, but now they're tagging with the Bucks next week. It seems like they're trying to play them off as like trying to be buddies with the Elite. And then that may be the way that they kind of separate everybody. But it seems like they're overthinking it, when all you had to do is have them come in, attack the Bucks, and there you go. Boom. You have an A-level storyline to go with that everybody's been like kind of salivating over for years. So I just feel like they're overthinking it.
Do you think that they're going to play a bigger role in Paige turning on the Elite? Maybe Paige starts to lead a new group with FTR kind of at his side.
Maybe, but then you start getting into the issue that AEW has way too many factions, because you still have,
that's fair.
You have the Elite, you have the Inner Circle, you have the Best Friends with Orange Cassidy, you would have Paige and FTR, you still have whatever the fucking death triangle is with Pac and the Lucha Bros, you have Jungle Express. Like, you just come into the problem
squad, or Dark Order, I'm sorry.
Way too many factions. Unless they wanted to introduce a 6-man tag belt, and then that would make it interesting.
Which they should do, by the way. I'm a big proponent for 6-man tag belts. I think WWE needs to do it as well. Like WWE just has too many people in general, just kind of doing nothing, and there's not enough belts to go around. Make a 6-man tag belt.
Yeah, 6-man tag would be pretty cool. I think that's the only way you can validate having that many groups of 3 or more people.
Sure, that's a good point.
Because they have a lot, and now they're doing like Matt Hardy and Private Party. So yeah, they're getting into this like weird area now of like they just have too many factions. So we'll see. I mean, that seems like an interesting avenue to go. And maybe Paige is ready to kind of lead his own group. We'll see.
Maybe.
They were kind of doing the beers thing. Like they brought beers into the ring. Kenny had poured them out, and then they got pissed off, and that's how they kind of like got into a tussle.
Right.
So maybe it's like, holy shit. Oh my God. I just thought of something.
Okay. I like this.
Oh man. Do you remember Beer Money Incorporated?
Of course I remember Beer Money.
Okay. I don't know when fucking Robert Roode's contract is up, and he doesn't even have to be a part of this because James Storm is kind of floating around. What if James Storm came into the AEW and Hangman created a new version of Beer Money Incorporated?
Beer Money 2.0? I'm kind of with that.
FTR, Hangman, and fucking James Storm. Or if the Storm doesn't even come in, it's like, fuck it, we're taking the name anyways. Who gives a shit?
I'm kind of in on that. Dude, you're talking to like, I love factions. I love any faction. I love all factions.
I used to love Beer Money because like they would roll in on like the kegerators.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And they had a really great breakup that led into like a really solid TNA World Heavyweight title feud.
Yes.
So,
that was good.
Fuck. I know I just shit on them having too many factions, but like now I kind of want to see it.
Hey, Cody, Tony, that one's free. Just take that one and you can run with it. Just remember who gave it to you though.
I know. Come on, guys. Like we're just giving you all the ideas. So all we ask for is a little credit. Maybe have a wrestler come on the podcast.
Sure, that's all we're asking. But
we don't ask for much. We're simple men. Like we just want
very simple.
So let's move over to NXT. Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks. This is top level match. I mean,
great match. I mean, and he's not shocked either, right? You're like, there's a reason why this was put on last because everyone knew it was going to be a banger. Like there wasn't a title on the line.
Okay, so I do have a problem with that though.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about it.
Like I fucking hate non-title matches like this. Like this is a match that everybody's that would want to see. I know that we were probably all anticipating that Io would win or keep the belt anyways, but like something about having it as a title match just adds more cachet and adds more stakes.
But what
I think for Great American Bash, make it a title match. Who fucking cares?
Would it have been weird to have Sasha essentially be given 2 title matches though, kind of like in a very short amount of time? Because so she's already the tag team champion. She's gonna face Asuka, right, for the Raw belt. So then her getting this shot against Io for the NXT title, like she could have potentially been like a triple champion.
Yeah, hear me out. It would have been dope if Bayley and Sasha had all the belts.
Well, yes, I'm a big proponent of multi-champ people, like singular people. So yeah, I would have been all about that. I was just wondering, would that have been overkill for Sasha to have been like one of the first?
No, because what they're doing right now, what Bayley and Sasha are doing right now, is the best thing going in the company.
Is really good. It's very, very good.
It's so fucking gold. If they had the balls to put the belts on, like all the belts on them, just for like a month, who cares? They can drop it in some wonky fashion, but like the amount of content that they would have got out of that, especially with Bayley just kind of sitting there like during like a random Sasha match, or Sasha sitting there during a random Bayley match with all the belts kind of like strapped on them. I think they did this on Friday.
Yeah.
Where they called Bayley like Bayley Trace belts or something like that.
Yeah.
And she just sat there like a boss. Like I'd want to get weird like that. I think that'd be cool, but this match was pretty solid.
Asuka got involved at the end. Asuka got involved after the match. But no, it was, dude, Sasha is friggin' incredible. Just like watching her in the ring, and Io is just as good. So again, for them to deliver when expectations were already very, very high was friggin' spectacular to watch. Io's moonsault, by the way, is just like, it is picture perfect. It is a thing of beauty to watch every single time.
So,
and she does that thing where, she does the moonsault, and even if the person is on their back, she doesn't care. She doesn't wait for them to flip over. She's doing it. She's hitting you in the back. And love that. That's just more vicious to me.
She is the genius of the sky for a reason.
Yep.
Like, she is fucking perfect. I love Io Shirai. I hope that she is in the main event picture for a very long time and she gets all the love that she deserves. One thing that I just saw on Twitter that I didn't catch in real time, apparently Cody Rhodes wore a American Nightmare Cody shirt in the very same font and style as the old Great American Bash sign.
Oh, shots.
Man, I love petty shots like that. I need it.
Did you also see that they're selling fake tattoos like the ones on Cody's neck? So my anniversary with my wife is this weekend. So I absolutely know what I'm getting her for a gift. It's press on Cody Rhodes tattoos.
You should get that Cody Rhodes tattoo, put it on, and then walk in and be like, "Look what I got for our anniversary," and just have it on your neck.
Wrist COVID and and put it on my neck. Father of the year right there. Anyway, but no, that's fantastic. That's a great find. Whoever found that, that's great digging into.
Oh, it was Gary Cassidy, Wrestling Gary.
Oh, I love Gary Cassidy. He's we got to get him on the show. I'll talk to him soon. But
all right.
He's
So
a legend.
What a night of wrestling. We got to wrap this up because we both have kids and we got to get those kids to bed. So
indeed.
It was a great night of wrestling. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for next week. I mean, we get Adam Cole versus Keith Lee, and then we get night two of Fyter Fest, which was supposed to be Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage, but that's been pushed back due to Mox's situation, dealing with COVID in his house. So, can't wait for that. So make sure you follow us on Twitter at 2JabroniesPod, and you can follow us on Instagram at 2JabroniesPod as well. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that red button at 2Jabronis with the Wrestling Podcast. You can follow me personally on Twitter at Jeremy A. Loss, and you can follow Ben at Cruise Control. That is Control with a K.
Don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you download your podcasts. And if you're one of our fantastic Apple Podcast users, please, please, please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And if you're feeling spicy, leave that review. Help us climb those Apple Podcast wrestling charts, man. I would love to crack the top 50. Let's set some small goals. So we're
let's
the
get
67
all
range.
the Blue Wire pods up there.
Right.
Let's elevate us all.
All the Blue Wire pods, the wrestling pods, get us all. Let's close it out. You know what I'm saying? Let's run the table. Chris Van Vliet leading the way. He's in the 20s, obviously, because he's a freaking legend. Top Rope Nation. Those guys are also in the mix. We're very lucky to be in the mix. Fight Game Media in the mix. It's the Andres Hale, Kel Dansby pod with the name that is now slipping my brain. I was trying to download it before I actually got on with you to record, but also their podcast. Help us close it out. Let's get the top 5 wrestling pod spots on Apple Podcasts. But also for our Spotify people, hit us on that follow. Hit us with that follow, and listen to us on there if Spotify is your jam. All right, everyone. Thanks as always for hopping on. It was a fantastic, fantastic evening of wrestling. Thanks for reliving it all with us on this Thursday morning or whenever you are listening to this pod. And as always, in the meantime, please keep washing your hands. Please keep staying home. Keep being safe. Wear a mask.
Wear a mask. Yes. Don't be like Kane, who apparently voted against.
He was the singular vote to not wear masks, and if you don't understand the irony of that, or the stupidity of it, I don't know what's.
Make sure you wear your mask. Make sure that you practice social distancing. Be safe. This thing is continuing to devastate communities. But you guys can do your part by just staying home and staying vigilant. So, again, please, please, please wear a mask and wash your hands. And thank you guys for listening.
And as always, Black Lives Matter. All right, everyone. Catch you next week, or catch you in a few days. Peace.